Alrighty, hello everyone. Thank you for joining our fourth and last recruitment webinar of the week. Today we have an amazing and a new partner of ACE, FHLB Chicago. They will be leading the webinar today and talking to us about opportunities within financial services. So thank you again for all of you for joining. Like always, I encourage you to ask questions throughout the recruitment webinar to make sure that you take advantage of the people and the resources that we have available right now. In addition to, if you do end up applying to any of the positions at FHLB Chicago, if you can let us know, I will give you my email at the end of the webinar so that you can let us know, and we will be happy to refer you over to our partners. For those of you that are new to ACE, ACE is a national nonprofit organization. We are headquartered in Chicago, but we do work across the entire nation. Essentially, the mission and vision of ACE since 1982 has been to provide Latinos with different resources, access to role models, but also to different career opportunities in hopes of promoting Latino talent to executive positions. So we do this throughout different programming, starting from high school all the way to executive level, creating that pipeline of Latino talent. So some of the programs that we offer and our most popular ones would be Mujeres de ACE, which is a Mujeres intensive leadership program. We have a leadership program for emerging leaders, and also some opportunity for university students and high school students. So if you're interested in learning about either or any of those programs, please go to our website and stay tuned for that. In addition to some of the leadership development programs that we offer, we always try to engage our members and provide them with different resources. So we have monthly career coaching sessions that you can definitely take advantage of, and that would be pairing you with a career coach to help you achieve your goals and your full potential. So if you're interested in joining any of our career coaching sessions, you may go to our website under events, and you will find more information about that. And then as part of our monthly webinars, we offer, we have these recruitment series, which we have one in the spring and we have one in the fall, but we also have monthly webinars with different topics to help you further your career. The next webinar will be on how to level up your resume on April 1st. And I think right now, especially because many of you might be working from home or might have some additional time on your hands, it might be a good time for you to invest this time and get your mind out of everything that's going on and work on your development and leveling up your resume. We will also be offering a lot of other webinars throughout this time, especially given the fact that many of us are working remote, and just to help everyone to continue networking and learning different things. So stay tuned on that. There's a lot more coming. If you are already subscribed to our newsletter, you will be receiving emails giving you updates on all of what's going on with ACE. And if you're not, I highly encourage you to do so if you're interested in leveling up some of your career, if you're interested in expanding your network, and so on. But with that being said, I want to welcome our presenters today. We have Meri, Sheehan, Paola, Toledo, and Leslie Drish. They will be leading our webinar today. As always, I encourage you to ask as many questions as possible throughout the webinar. If for any reason you have to step out and you are not able to stay the whole time, we are recording this, so you will be receiving an email with the recording that you can also share with any of your peers that might be interested in some of these positions. So thank you again for joining and for staying active with ACE. So now I would like to hand it over to Leslie. She will be giving the first few remarks and taking over.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're really happy that you could join us. And so I'm going to have my team, we're going to just introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about what we are doing at the bank. So, Meri, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. My name is Meri Sheehan. I am the Talent Acquisition Specialist for the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago. For those of you who may not know what a Talent Acquisition Specialist does, it is just a fancy term for a recruiter. So what I do is I manage the entire kind of start to finish process for recruiting all of our full-time experienced hires. So by that, I mean basically any position that's not a summer internship. So, I am responsible for posting jobs, interviewing candidates, making sure our hiring managers have everything that they need, during the process, and essentially making sure that we are finding the right individuals for the right positions. So I've been with the bank for about 4 years, and I've been a recruiter and in human resources for a total of about 25 years now. So, love matching the right person to the right opportunity, and I'm excited to later on in this webinar tell you a little bit more about the bank, about our culture, and all of the great things and the benefits that we have, and why it's such a great place to work.
Thanks, Meri. Paola, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Buenas tardes. My name is Paola Toledo, and I have been working for the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago for 6 years. I'm in the credit department, and I work as a credit analyst. My main responsibility is to assess the financial performance of our members, which could be other banks, credit unions, insurance companies, and community development financial institutions. I'm originally from Peru, and I came to US 8 years ago to study a master in business administration, and then I moved here to Chicago to work for the bank. And I love this city. It's so diverse and it's great. Working from the bank has been a great experience for me. It's a place where I feel included, and you will hear more about the D&I efforts that we have, and I really appreciate that. I'm also the leader of the Latino ERG, and together with the members of the ERG, we organize different events throughout the year. And I'll show you later during the presentation the slides with some events that we did last year. Thank you.
Thanks. I am Leslie Drish. I am the Director of Diversity and Inclusion for the bank. I've been with the bank since October, so it's only been about 6 months or so. However, I will say that I have truly enjoyed my time at the bank. It is just a wonderful employee experience. The people have been really warm and really welcoming, and I am so thankful that I landed at the bank. So in my day-to-day responsibilities, I support all of our diversity and inclusion initiatives. So those things include our training efforts. It includes hosting different events around diversity and inclusion. It includes supporting all of the people at the bank that support all of our D&I work, which includes our ERGs and our diversity and inclusion working groups. And I also manage all of our external partnerships. So I have become very familiar with HACE, and it's a great organization, and I'm really happy that they're one of our program partners. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Meri, and we're going to have her kind of talk a little bit about what we do at the bank. Let me see if I could, there we go. So Meri, do you want to kind of introduce the bank and who we are?
Sure. So Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago was chartered by the United States Congress back in the Great Depression era. So we've been around since 1932, and the goal was then, and it still is now, is to promote homeownership. So we have, I think, over 700 member financial institutions kind of throughout Illinois and Wisconsin. So that's kind of the geographical area that we support. So we're essentially a bank for other banks. So what we do is we provide low-cost loans and low-cost funding to our member financial institutions. So you can think of it as kind of two sides of the house. So we have the side of the house that lends the money, and then we have the side of the house that gives the money away. So we have, an amazing group of community investment professionals that will assist these same member financial institutions with things like grants programs and disaster relief funds, and in situations where they may need that kind of financial support, and we support them in their community investment in their community development activities. So, we do a lot with supporting multifamily affordable housing projects. I mentioned if there's, some sort of disaster that happens where a community needs additional funding, the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago can jump in and assist with that. So we're definitely different than a lot of the commercial or retail banks that you might think of, because, the biggest difference is we do not deal directly with the customer. So that, also means that our name isn't, kind of out there as much as, say, a Bank of America or a JP Morgan Chase, that sort of thing. So maybe the first time that a lot of you are hearing about us, but we're all excited to as this webinar progresses, to familiarize all of you with who we are and what we do.
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the bank's commitment to diversity and inclusion. And so really, when we think about diversity and inclusion, it is anything that makes us different. But we like to make sure that people understand when we're thinking about diversity and inclusion at the bank, it's not just about race or gender or age, but it's also the experiences and perspectives and viewpoints and backgrounds and how everybody brings who they are to the table, to really share their experiences and bring their whole selves to work so they can really, one, serve the bank better, serve our member banks better, and really get involved in everything that we're doing. We want to make sure that all of our employees really have the opportunity to learn about things that they're interested in and get some professional development so they can further their careers. So when we think about the vision of the bank, we want to make sure that everyone at the bank really understands and has D&I embedded into our culture. So if you ever walk into our bank, what you will see are a number of posters and a number of signs that really celebrate all of the diversity that we do and all of the work that we do with our vendors. So we want to make sure that all of our employees feel like that this is a great place to work, and D&I is really integrated into all of the business decisions that we make. We want to make sure that we're leveraging the talents and experiences that people bring. We want to make sure that we're bringing in people that have different viewpoints, so we are always challenging ourselves. And then lastly, as Meri mentioned, we are really embedded in communities. And so we want to make sure that whoever we bring into the bank is representative of all of the diverse communities that we serve. So at a very high level, this is our strategic plan around diversity and inclusion, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out at the very beginning. One is at the top of this strategic plan is our bank's mission. And our bank's mission is really to serve the members the best way that we can. The other thing that we do that's really kind of sets our bank apart from a lot of other employers is that our board of directors and our executive team, they are thoroughly engaged in our work. So one of the reasons why I decided to join the bank was because I had never experienced executive team members or board members that were really as ingrained into diversity and inclusion and really wanted to embed diversity and inclusion into everything that we do. So for example, this past November, we took our board of directors, we took our executive team, and we took several employees on what we call a cultural exploration. So for an entire weekend, that team went into neighborhoods in Chicago that really highlighted the Latinx experience. So they were sitting in Pilsen, they were in Little Village, they were in Humboldt Park, they were meeting with community leaders, they were meeting with people that did affordable housing, they were meeting with small business owners just so they could understand what that culture is like and what the communities are like, so we could really figure out how we could better serve those community needs. So they took the time for an entire weekend to just be in the communities and learn more about them. So that really kind of highlights our commitment to diversity and inclusion. So we have at the bank, since we are so committed to diversity and inclusion, we have some working groups that really support our mission. And so we have a workforce group that helps us think about our talent. And so that means thinking about who do we hire, but not only who we hire, but if we're promoting people and if we're giving people the opportunity to engage in the bank in the ways that we want to. We also want to make sure that we're having a very inclusive culture where people feel like they belong there. And so that way we want to make sure that we're engaging people in the bank. The other group that we have is supplier diversity. And so we really kind of set the bar with thinking about how we can have some diverse vendors at the bank. So, for example, we are going to be moving to the old post office in later on this year. And so as a part of our move, our bank and our board of directors set a goal for saying that 70% of the vendors that we're working with for that move project have to be diverse vendors. So not only do we have these working groups, but we actually set goals and targets so we can actually meet people where they are. The other thing that we do is look at capital markets, and so we're looking to bring in diverse brokers and do business with diverse brokers. And then the other thing that we try to do is to have bank culture and community investment. So we have a group that really just focuses on what the bank's doing around their culture and how they could be really make the bank an even more fun and engaging place for all of our employees. So with these working groups, what's nice about them is that we have people from all over the bank that are participating in these types of groups. So this isn't people's regular job, but they actually participate in it because it's something that they're interested in, and they help us think of new ideas and ways to engage different groups. The other things that we have at the bank to really drive inclusion are our employee resource groups. So we currently have 6 groups: the African American group, the Latino group, women's group, global diversity, green, and baby boomers. So there's a variety of different ways in which people can get involved in the company. We encourage people to join our employee resource groups, even if they don't self-identify from those groups. For example, I don't identify as Latina. However, I'm a member of the Latino ERG because I'm interested in learning more about that culture. I really want to meet people across the bank, and it's just something that's going to expand my knowledge base just so I can make sure that I'm serving all of our employees better. So what's nice about our groups is, again, they're run by all of our employees. They are all sponsored by executive team members because everybody is really ingrained in what we're doing. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Paola, and she's going to talk specifically about the Latino ERG and some of the things that they're doing at the bank.
Hi, everyone. Leslie already mentioned what is an employee resource group, or an ERG, and it's a group of employees who join together in the workplace based on some affinity. An ERG mainly fosters diversity and inclusion, and their main focus is career development, talent acquisition, and cultural awareness. The Latino ERG formed mainly, and as Leslie mentioned, the ERGs are open to all employees at the bank. It's not necessarily for Latinos. So, as you can read on the slide, the mission of the Latino ERG is to create a network of employees that enhances the personal and professional development of its members. Currently, we have approximately 65 members. But our goal is to provide resources for educational and cultural enrichment to all bank employees. At the same time, we try to contribute, and this is important, we contribute with the bank's diversity and inclusion strategy that Leslie mentioned before. We also want to strengthen the presence of Latinos within the bank. We want to build relationships and promote cultural awareness. We also reach out to the communities outside the bank. you will see in the following slides what we did with El Valor, a Latino organization. And we also partner with Latino organizations like HACE. This first slide, for instance, shows pictures of 2 events we did for Hispanic Heritage Month, but we did more than 2. We organized a paleta event and invited all bank employees. All the events that we do are for all bank employees, so we can show and share our culture. This event was great because it was a good way to network with people from other departments. At the same time, we were presenting slides, if you see at the back, with fun facts about Latinos. For instance, successful Latinos like Rita Moreno or the Nobel Prize winner like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, as well as other information about Latin America and its geography and its history. So it's not only fun, but you learn something in these events. The other event was also a fun event. It was a mariachi concert with the kids from the Calmeca Academy. And we also enjoyed some chocolate abuelita and conchas. Also, this event was great. We had around 100 employees participating in this, between 80 and 100. And we could share our traditions and music and culture. And we also supported this organization with a donation. So it was good. Yes, thank you, Leslie.
No problem.
So this slide, thanks, shows another event that we did also during Hispanic Heritage Month, and it was called Drumming, Diversity, and Dialogue with Funkadesi. Funkadesi is a very diverse band from Chicago, and the drummers are from India, from Africa, from Latin America, from US. So it brings all diversity that Chicago has. And that's why I think the Latino ERD is very important, because there is a big population of Latinos in Chicago. So this event was focused on inclusion, and we play the instruments. We have around 40 people joining for this event, and we had employees, executive team members, so it was a mix of all employees at the bank. And the message in this, no problem. The message of this event was that every part is welcome, and how important it is to listen to each other and have a mutual respect. So it's not also a cultural awareness event or fun event, and it's very dynamic, but it brings leadership skills. So this is an example of what we do, and if you can see in the next slide, shows also our involvement with the community, the Latino community. We went to El Valor, which is a children's school in Pilsen, and we read for the children, and we had different activities with the children. And I volunteered for that event, but I talked with the other events, and they mentioned that it was a very rewarding experience, and they enjoyed they enjoyed this because they had the chance to interact with the kids, with maybe they don't have that opportunity that often. This is an example of the things we do, but in my experience in the Latino, being a leader of the Latino ERD for the last 2 years, because we created the Latino ERD in 2018, March 2018. So if you ever want to become a leader, I think being a part of an ERD is a great start. In my case, the ERD has enhanced my personal and professional development. First, it has developed my leadership skills. It has provided tons of networking opportunities, and it has improved my cultural awareness. And I will share with you some examples. When I say that you can develop your leadership skills, for example, you will be able to lead meetings or to do presentations for other bank employees. In the last Hispanic Heritage Month, We had a cultural lunch, and I presented about my country, Peru, and its tradition and its food, and I could practice my presentation skills, which are important in all the roles. Then, in addition, there are many networking opportunities. You get to know people from all the departments at the bank, which is very difficult other way. We are like around 500 people at the bank, so it's very difficult to interact with all of them. But when you join an ERG, it's easier to get to know people. And not only with the staff, you get to interact with executive team members, as Leslie mentioned, and also with board members. And the third way it has impacted me is that I had the opportunity to learn about other cultures. I have learned a lot about the Mexican traditions that now I feel it's kind of part of my culture too, because even though Latin American countries are very different and each of them have their own traditions, we also have some similar things. And that just to know about Mexico and its tradition, I decided to go to Mexico and to Michoacan to celebrate El Día de los Muertos, and it was a great experience. So I think working in an organization that encourages you to be who you are and bring your culture to work is a great gift. So I would recommend that when you research a company, take a look at the diversity and inclusion efforts. And if you can join an ERG or start one, I really recommend that. Thank you, Leslie.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we're going to turn it back over to Meri, who's going to talk a little bit about what it's like working at the bank in our bank culture.
Yeah, so this is, you guys, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So because I feel like I get to come to work here every day and I get to be in it and I get to live it. And you will probably not find a bigger cheerleader for working at the bank than me. It is a very special place to work, and I never say things that I don't mean, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like I mentioned earlier, we are not your typical bank for a million different reasons, but I think that our culture is one of those things that sort of sets us apart. When you think of a bank, you may think of again, one of those bigger brand names that you see as you're walking down the street every day. And I think I can say this because I've worked in banking at a couple of points in my career. Most banks are kind of stuffy and corporate and buttoned up, and maybe sometimes you might find that the people aren't very friendly, and they're usually very large organizations. But we are not like that. I think that our culture is just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more casual. These are some of the warmest and friendliest people that I have ever had the opportunity to meet. And just to Paola's point, we're hovering at around 485, 490 employees right now. So you may not get a chance to kind of meet every single person, but I can tell you from experience, as you're walking down the hall, if you pass someone who you may not know, they will say hello to you. You can say hello back. If you have a question, all you need to say is, I'm new here. And someone will, if they don't have the answer for you, they will point you in the right direction. So, just amazing, amazing individuals, that work here. We're all subject matter experts in our spaces. So, these are people that, are very good at what they do and incredibly intelligent too. We have Harvard graduates, Booth graduates, Kellogg graduates. And the thing that amazes me about that is that they can work anywhere, but they choose to work at the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago. So to me, that's just a testament to who we are and the opportunities that we can offer our employees. So it's a very collaborative culture too. So, as we've been talking about, the employee resource groups, the ERGs, you have an opportunity to kind of, to meet up and to collaborate with individuals in these ERGs that you may not have an opportunity to kind of in your day-to-day. And then you get to know people and, you're able to, you recognize them and say hello to them as you're going to your next meeting or what have you. So, so we're in a very engaged culture. You can feel free to bring your authentic self and be who you really are. That's our commitment. That's our commitment to diversity and inclusion. And that comes from the top, right? So all of our executive team, so all of our C-suite executives are housed right in our Chicago office, and they are very accessible, which is something that you might not find at other organizations, whether banking or otherwise. So they're not these kind of men and women behind a curtain that you never see and you never speak to. You can certainly, you'll see them walking the halls, and like our CFO, for example, a gentleman named Roger Lundstrom. Every morning, Roger sits outside of his office in an area that's, that a lot of people pass by, and he reads the Wall Street Journal and he says hello to people as he walks in. And you can say to him, hey, did you see that article? Or can I put some time on your calendar? I don't know of too many chief financial officers at any other companies that are that accessible to, to their employees. So it starts at the top and it kind of trickles down from there. I think that we all work cross-functionally because we're all in it for the same goal, right? And that is to serve our members and in turn, make home ownership affordable for everyone. So no matter what you do at the bank, you're working towards that goal. And then the community side of it as well. Again, we're very mission focused, very community focused, and working at the bank, that means you'll get a lot of opportunities outside of your day-to-day work to give back to the community. So there are always volunteer opportunities. There are things happening sort of after hours. For example, I can just give you a quick example. One of our big, partners as far as, the community is Ronald McDonald House. So there are groups that go to the Ronald McDonald House by Lurie Children's Hospital, at least a couple of times a month, maybe more, and they cook lunch for the families who are staying there. So if that's something that, that you're interested in doing, there's always opportunities. We have a great internal communications team that is constantly sending out notices and ways for all of us to find out what's going on in the community and to be able to to partner in to give back if that's something that you want to do. And then this is, again, one of my favorite things to talk about. Not only do we have an amazing culture, we pay really well and our benefits are amazing. I consider our benefits to be second to none, not only in financial services, but really kind of at companies throughout the Chicagoland area. And trust me when I say my team and my compensation team, we are constantly looking at the market and, looking at what other folks have to offer. And they truly are amazing benefits. So, we offer a full retirement plan. So we offer a 401k as well as a 100% employer paid pension plan. A pension is something that you're not going to find at a lot of other companies out there these days. It's something that only 20% of companies throughout the United States are still offering. So it's an incentive to make a long-term commitment to the bank because that's what we want. We want people who want to be here and to stick around. And it's probably the reason why if you were working for us and you kind of stepped outside of an office or one of our conference rooms, you would likely bump into someone who's been with the bank for 25 or 30 years. That's not something that's really all that unusual at the bank. Our average tenure, I think, is hovering at around 8 or 9 years. So the average employee has worked for the bank for, about that amount of time. We offer not only a base salary, but opportunity for yearly bonus as well. We have a great PTO or paid time off policy. So, we can offer up to 25 PTO days per year. And again, that's something you're not going to find, a lot of places. Tuition reimbursement. It's one of the most generous tuition reimbursement plans you're going to find anywhere. We value continuing education, and if someone has been sort of held back from pursuing a degree, we want to make sure, and because cost is an issue, we want to make sure cost isn't an issue any longer. So the bank will reimburse you up to $35,000 per calendar year for degreed education. So if you wanted to get your bachelor's degree or your master's, the bank will help you with that. And then, it's the little bells and whistles too, right? So, things like matching gift programs and gym membership reimbursements, all of those little things, using your pre-tax dollars for your CTA pass or your Metro Pass. These are all things that, that the bank will be able to assist you with. And I think one of the most fun things is we're casual dress. So you can wear jeans, even though we're a bank, you can wear jeans 5 days a week if you want to. So, lots and lots of things that, that we can offer to all of our employees. Can everyone still hear me okay?
Yep.
I can hear you.
Perfect. Sorry guys, it sounded like I dropped off for a little bit. I just wanted to make sure everyone can hear me. So let's talk a little bit about open roles at the bank. So these three that we have listed here are just an example. So that is not indicative of everything that we have open right now. I would say at any given time, we probably have anywhere from 10 to 20 positions that are open. So this is, again, just an example. So we have right now on our IT team, we have an opportunity for someone to join us as a cybersecurity risk manager. It sounds like a really cool opportunity for someone who has experience in that space. Our mortgage partnership finance team is looking for a business analyst, and our IT security team is looking for a security operations lead. So what I would recommend, if you're interested in learning more about our opportunities, you can see the link at the bottom, but all of our open jobs are listed on all the major job boards. So you can find us on LinkedIn, you can find us on on Indeed, and apply that way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on our careers page through our website. And please, for anyone who's listening, consider me a resource. If you have any questions about a role that you see posted, you'd like more information, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message that way. I'm happy to provide you with more details. But a couple of kind of job seeking tips that I can offer you. If there's something that you see that's posted online that you're interested in, I would say take the time to, really take a look at the job description, look at the day-to-day. We're usually really good at, explaining, what you could potentially be getting yourself into if you join us as far as the day-to-day responsibilities, and look at the qualifications, make sure that, your experience aligns with those qualifications, and then you can go ahead and apply. And we have a very smooth, very easy application process now. We've recently streamlined that on our system. So essentially you're downloading your resume and it's populating all of that information. So it takes less time for you than if you were to have to manually fill out that information. But again, our positions are changing all the time. We keep up to date as far as our open jobs and our open opportunities. So there's nothing, what you see posted is actually open, and we are looking for individuals. So, but again, I'm more than happy to act as a resource for anyone who might want more information on any of our open positions here at the bank. So now I think we're going to, sorry, Leslie, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Stephanie, I think now we're going to open it back up for questions. So do you want to help us moderate that?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you all for the presentation. Well, now is the time for anyone to start asking questions, and I have received a few of them. So I have a question in regards to the move. So is the entire employee base currently located at 200 East Randolph moving to the old post office later this year?
Yes, they are. All of us are moving over there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a resource group for individuals with disabilities?
So at the moment, there isn't. However, we have a couple of employees that have come to me and said, hey, I really want to start an ERG. And I actively encourage them to do so. So for example, I had a guy who's really interested in creating a veterans ERG. The baby boomers ERG that I just mentioned, they just launched this year. So if we have employees that are interested in a particular dimension of diversity and they want to start at ERG, we are more than willing to help them start it and give them some tools and resources so they can do so.
Perfect. I have another question here. So do you hire from out of state or is it only local candidates?
So it's really depending on what the candidate wants. So if the candidate is located out of state and has plans to relocate to the Chicago area, that's something that we can consider. But as far as, remote work, it wouldn't be something where the person can live, let's just say in Texas and work for us. So they would need to actually physically be in our office.
Okay. I have a person that is asking if do you support or have any roles for career transitioners, specifically from education administration backgrounds?
So for education administration, that might not be something that completely aligns, but there, my recommendation is for anyone who's interested to look at our open jobs and to see if their skills and their background might align to, the positions that we have open. I think that that's a great way a lot of times to look at new opportunities when you can see where your background can kind of fit into these open roles. So career transitioning, that's not something yet that that our human resources team has someone dedicated to, but it is absolutely something that we have been looking into as far as reskilling and upskilling employees.
Do you only have one branch or do you have more branches in other states?
So we actually don't call them branches, we call them offices. So because we have 11 what they call district banks that are kind of scattered throughout the United States. So, they are all sort of, independently owned and operated, if that makes any sense, but we're all under the Federal Home Loan Bank system umbrella. So we are the only location in Illinois, but we do have locations we have the Midwest covered. So we have a location in Indianapolis. We have another location in Des Moines, Iowa.
Awesome. And then I have another participant. What would you recommend? What are some advice that you could recommend to enhance an individual's resume for an entry-level position in HR?
An entry-level position in HR, well, I would just focus, my advice would be to focus on any HR-related experience that you might have outside of work.
Mary, you're getting a lot of feedback. Do you have your computer on?
No, I'm using my phone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There may be someone who, if I could recommend everyone on the line mute their lines, would be fantastic. We'll see if that works. Okay, that seems to have helped. So someone who might be looking for a career in human resources, or really any career that might be outside of the work that they've done already, I would just, again, look at any organizations that you volunteered at, maybe your university, if you, belong to a business fraternity and you, had responsibilities there that might align to the type of job that you're looking for. Those may be things that, that you can add to your resume. Also, there's plenty of resume writing services out there. I know LinkedIn has their own resume writing service, and you may also reach out to your professional network to see if anyone might be interested in volunteering to take a look at your resume and to see where there might be areas that they can enhance.
Awesome, thank you. I have another question. So in regards to COVID-19, I know several companies have changed their interview process for the meantime. Are you currently hiring? And if so, then what does that interview process look like for you all right now?
Sure, so it is business as usual at the bank. So what we're doing now is, because there is obviously a stay-at-home mandate in place here in Illinois, we are making the best of it and making the most of it. So we are still continuing on with interviews, but we are doing video interviews via GoToMeeting right now, and that is something that we put into place just a few days ago, and it's working out really well. We do have new hires that we had weeks ago scheduled to join the bank the first week in April, and we are still committed to that. So it's just a matter of onboarding or bringing these people on remotely and making sure that they have everything they need from a technology standpoint to do their work at home. So it's really amazing how all of us at the bank have all sort of banded together and have basically created a virtual bank for the time that that we're all still working from home, and we're getting through it, and we're all very hopeful that this will pass, and we know that it will, and we'll be all back in the office very soon. But as far as the recruiting process, we are still moving ahead just like as if it was any other day in the office.
That's good to hear. Thank you. I have another question in regards to career advice. So there's a participant, and this is what they said. I began my career in finance banking, but I currently work in a school district business office short term. Looking to return back to the private sector, specifically in finance. How difficult would the transition be? If there's any advice that you could provide.
Sure. Well, I think that, the fact that you've had experience already in banking and finance is already a leg up. So it's really enhancing your resume to showcase that. And, every resume, I'm sure at the top you've seen, kind of an objective is just making it clear to, any company that you might be applying to that you are interested in returning to the financial sector. So what I can also recommend is if there's any if it's been a significant amount of time since you've been in banking and finance, perhaps you can look to see if there's any free educational courses that you can take, things on YouTube relevant to your experience. If there's any new technologies that you think might be relevant, just based on the job postings that you're looking at on jobs that you're interested in, just to show that you are making the effort and making the commitment to get up to speed to return to banking and finance.
Perfect. Those are all the questions that I've received so far. So we'll give them a couple minutes to submit any others, but any additional comments that any of you would like to make?
I think I think I'm the one that's giving the feedback, so I don't want to speak long, but this is Leslie. And I will just say that look at our website, look at things that we're doing, because the bank is a really wonderful hidden gem, and it is a great experience to work at the bank. And so we're always looking for really remarkable, diverse talent. And so if this place sounds like a place that you would like to be, we encourage you to look at our website, reach out to any of us, and we're more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much. Oh, looks like I got a few others. Do you offer any internships?
We do. So we have actually a couple of different internships that we offer. So we offer kind of your traditional summer internship program. So that is something that goes about 9 or 10 weeks, in the summertime from June until whenever you return to school. So we're pretty flexible with that. We also have a program called our long-term internship program. So that is something that is geared more towards Chicago area college students, because you would be commuting back and forth and spending time at school, and then also spending about 15 or 20 hours a week during the school year at working for the bank in various departments. Also, we have a very neat, very unique program that we offer called the Rotational Analyst Program. That is something that we recruit for usually in the fall. So you would see those job postings usually around September, early October. That is an opportunity that's geared towards that year's current seniors, because we do start the program in July of every year. So that is what we call a rotation of 2 years. So 4 6-month rotations in various areas of the bank. So that gives people the opportunity to, if you can think of a buffet, right, tasting a little bit and seeing what you like and what you don't. There's different tracks. So there's a finance track, there is a community investment track, there is an HR track, there is an IT track. So whatever your major is and whatever your interest is, as far as where you might want to take your career in the future, the Rotational Analyst Program is a fantastic way to find out not only what you like, but sometimes what you might not like as well, which I think surprises some of our rotational analysts. So there are plenty of opportunities, for students kind of at all stages in their education to join us as far as internships and things that are a little bit longer in length as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then, so would those internships be available to non-students as well, or is it just specifically for students?
They would be specifically for students. Usually we're looking at sophomore level or above, all the way up to master's level.
Okay. And then one last question. So there's a couple of participants that are asking if they would be able to connect with you on LinkedIn, or if there's any way that they could continue staying in touch with you.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, I think, I think I speak for all of us, Paola and Leslie and myself, that, please connect with us, send us a request on LinkedIn. That's a great way to connect. And then I know personally, I post a lot on LinkedIn as far as our open jobs and things that, different activities around the bank. So it's a great way to kind of keep current on what's going on at the bank. So happy to accept all requests and, certainly answer any additional questions that you might have.
Perfect. Well, thank you all, and thank you for being such a great resource to our participants. I also want to encourage you all, as I mentioned, we are always sending referrals on behalf of our members to all of our partners. So if you do decide to move forward and apply to a position, let us know, and we will happily send over a referral and connect you to the partners that are our main contacts at the Federal Home Loan Bank. And also, if you have any questions in regards to the upcoming webinars that we have coming up, please feel free to reach out and stay tuned for what's to come, because we have a lot of things that are in the works, especially taking into consideration that a lot of people are working virtually. So I want to just take one last minute to thank the presenters today, Leslie, Meri, and Paola. Thank you so much for leading this webinar, and we look forward to furthering our partnership with you all.
Thank you so much,
Stephanie. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.